here's the thing I was thinking about, like with either Lovable or whatever the tools are. Like, how do I compete with anyone who knows what they're doing, who's building on those tools? They know more than me, and those tools do the design for you. So like,
why do you say they know more than you though? What do you
I'm
mean by
talking
that?
like traditional coders who are using AI tools as to accelerate their work. That's what I'm talking
Got you.
about. I'm not talking about like you building on Lovable. I think we probably would be about even, like in terms of our abilities and knowledge
Sure.
going into that, right? But if I'm competing against like my friend Ben, who's been a traditional developer for 20 years, like that guy's going to win. He's going to win the gig, and he should win
I
the
don't.
gig.
But why would? Okay, all right. Let this is interesting actually. So there's so many things here. Like, first off, I don't think a developer necessarily makes a good freelancer and
That's
a good
true.
product engineer, as Gregory John is calling them now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a pretty broad skill set that you need that a developer who knows how to code may have, but doesn't necessarily have to have. That's a whole it's a whole other job really. So like
Sure.
being able to light up different parts of your brain. So like, okay, I got to intake what this person is telling me that they think they want and push back. Like we've talked about like how important the communication part is.
Right.
Why would
Oh,
they
that's
win?
interesting. Okay, I hadn't thought about that, because if you're, as a Bubble developer, you're dealing with the UI, the logic, the data structure, APIs, and all that kind of stuff, all of it. Whereas if you're my friend Ben, you are given the designs, you're given, like, you don't even have to deal with the logic. You're, well, for his type of development, he's like a front end developer. So he is coding the UI essentially. And then there's a back end developer, and he's going to be building logic, or let's say she is going to be building all the logic and whatever. And like, so he's just doing this one part of it. Whereas we were doing like all of it, right? It was full stack ish, right?
Right.
So yeah, maybe like I would be more competitive because I have more of a sensibility for the full stack kind of nature of a project, just like a little packaged project that
Yeah.
Ben couldn't do all of it ever, because, or not ever, but
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And like if you're comparing against a traditional developer, also in the same way that like Bubble people tend to like specialize in one area, even on Bubble, in that because Bubble is such a broad platform, it's like maybe Ben is a back-end developer, like he may not know much about design. Will the Vibe coding tools make it easier? Sure, but it doesn't mean that like that they would necessarily choose like and think of it from the perspective of a non-technical person. They don't know any of this shit. They don't care what you're coding on. They don't care if you're using Bubble or Windsurf or React. Like, it doesn't matter to them.
It's true,
like, they
but
just want to see what.
Well, there's a
what
difference
you're
between
producing.
like winning the gig and being good at this work, right? Like, anyone who communicates well can win a gig, but like being able to do it well is a different thing. And so I feel like the coding aspect of it is Ben would be better at, because he has that base of knowledge that I don't have. That's just
The
the language part.
execution, you're saying, like the execution of the project.
What do you mean by execution?
You're saying that you think in this case, apples to apples, Kelly versus Ben would be better at the execution of the project because he has tools and a foundational knowledge of coding that will let him excel faster. That's your
the technical execution.
Premise.
Yeah, the technical execution. I think if we're talking UI or like user flow, user experience, then like I would win. Like I would be better at that, right? And I guess like each of us are going to have to learn something here. If everybody becomes a full stack developer because of all of these tools, then like full stack is going to include all that other stuff, the soft skills. Yeah. It's not going to just be the technology, right? So I have to learn the technology, and he has to learn that other stuff, and that stuff's harder.
I think that this is exactly that point is exactly what makes this interesting. It's like the development becomes so less interesting now, and like the execution of not just technically, but of the overall project is what becomes like the thing that you can be better at. I can get better at listening to this person's problems and understanding how they're using it. Like the develop, like what tech stack you use is the least interesting thing about that problem. The interesting thing is how fast can I solve this person's problem? That's going to be, I think, the new race. If we're thinking about in terms of winning and losing and freelancing and executions on the projects, and even in like my case where it's, you know, execution on new features that I think will be add value to the app that I'm working on, it's like it's learning about the problem faster to me that is like the interesting part, not how I build it.
Learning about the problem faster.
Yeah.
How do you see? That feels like something you can't rush.
I think, okay, why not?
I mean, because I feel like that's a thing that you can't just put in a prompt and then it comes up, it gives you an answer. You're talking with another human, first of all, like the founder or the users, right? I mean, maybe you're looking at data from user, you know, actions, and AI is distilling that data based on what the users do, and you can learn from that. Okay, fine. But if you, let's say you're starting from scratch, you have to have conversations with the founder, many of them, and you can't AI that.
Oh, I fully agree. I think what I'm saying is that you have more time to have those conversations as if you were spending your time developing, right? Like you have more time to be on the product side, you know, like that's what I think I mean by like learning faster. It's like you have more time to actually, instead of like debugging, I'm going to spend 3 hours either debugging this stupid problem, which I know what it's supposed to do, but I just can't figure out why it's not working the way that I expect, over like, I'm going to have like 3 hours worth of conversations with this person to try to understand their problem a little bit better. Like, where is your time better spent now? Like, that's a question that we can start asking ourselves because we have the flexibility to use different tools.
Well, and I think right now, like, so for me, when I'm talking to a founder, then I'm going to go away and I'm going to mock up some screens and is this what you're thinking? Whereas like that takes hours to do. And if I could boop, 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 and it like gives me something in 1 minute.
You're talking about like Lovable now, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. To sort of just prototype like UI, not even, I'm not even talking about like building anything. Like I'm still going to build it on Bubble, let's just say, right? But in order to mock something up and be like, is this roughly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And not even design necessarily, but just like interface and what's on the page, and you know, then it goes to this other thing. This is the flow that we're talking about. You can mock that up much quicker than me building it out in Figma, little pixel by pixel.
Absolutely.
So it does accelerate that.
And that could go into like your proposal as a freelancer. Like it's so fast now that it can go into like a sales proposal that you put out there, and they're going to think, wow, look how customized this is to exactly what I told her. And it's more conversational, right? We could look at this and react to it and like argue about it, versus like trying to just like understand what's in their head. Like there's something for us to like look at a screen about, you know, like I think there's so many implications for freelancers like that are starting projects for these tools that like before you even have to touch Bubble has now become like the harder way to like show something, you know, like if you're just trying to like, do I even understand what you're saying yet? It'd be faster to just type that in as a prompt to like this. And then when you have that, like whatever, if you're more comfortable building in Bubble than on Lovable, for example, like, you know, like you and I are, then you go back to Bubble and build your production ready app, as Emmanuel has pointed out. That's the production platform now.